Hello, hi, welcome. I am so excited to bring you along to today's video and share the things that I have been working on. One of my goals for 2024 was to showcase my plants in a different way throughout my home. I'm not so much focused on getting more plants, but I want to style them differently. And one of the things that I really wanted to work on was to create a large terrarium. I'll be sharing how to create this step by step, and hope this inspires you to create your own as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with how I built it.
I wanted a metal cabinet, so I decided on the IKEA Rudsta cabinet, so I built that first, of course. Right after the build, I went in with foam weather stripping, and I used this clear enamel to help prevent any rust on the metal. If I could have done this again, I would have chosen to put this seal prior to adding the sides and the doors, but it's fine, it worked out. I did as much of the edges and any spaces that I saw and seal those nicely. We're gonna go back in later on and fill any spaces anyway. And sprayed the inside of the cabinet with this clear Rust-Oleum spray, and I let it sit overnight. Taking this hole saw, it is a 1 3/4 hole saw, and I'm gonna be making a hole in the back so I can add my cords and my misters later on. I feel like this is the part that everyone gets the most intimidated about, but really let your drill do the work. Just keep it straight, don't force it, hold it slightly and hover it over the cabinet, and it should be just fine. It'll just make that beautiful, beautiful circular hole. And we celebrate afterwards, of course, because we are badasses. You do have metal shards that are flying, so put some paper down and then clean up. It will be so much easier as well.
Yesterday I did a coat of waterproofing on the actual parts inside with a waterproof spray. I used a Rust-Oleum and let that dry overnight, and now I made the hole. That's always scary, but this is the third time that I've made a hole in metal, and so I feel more confident in it now. And so now this is the part that I'm starting to get more nervous about. So it's the silicone. I have my silicone. That's 100% waterproof. So there's that, and then the silicone gun. Gloves, very important for this. The silicone will stick to your hand, and if you are not wearing gloves, you are going to suffer when it comes time to remove the silicone from your fingers. It sticks. It's bad. Let's get it. The thing I messed up on was installing the doors. I should have waited, but I already sealed it with silicone, so I can't change it. So now we're gonna do what we do and make it work. Okay. I decided that I don't want to include anything on the sides. I just want to do the back. That way I could still have something on the side, like I can have plants on the side and the sun or the light can shine through. And I don't know, I think I like the look of that better. So I'm just doing the back.
So now it's about deciding where I want to put things. I found this really cool piece of mapani wood, and then I found cork bark. I'm also using just random nursery pots that I have that are wrapped in bags. But a lot of these items I've actually found at a reptile store locally. And using great stuff, which is your expanding foam.
Alexa, set timer for 1 minute.
You need to shake it. You shake it like a Polaroid picture. I don't think you're supposed to shake Polaroid pictures, but you know what I mean. You have to shake it for at least a minute for it to really expand. So, yeah, get in there, do your thing.
Alexa, turn off.
Remember that this expanding foam expands significantly after it dries. So I found working in smaller sections and also spraying thin sections was helpful. And then be sure to add what you want shortly after the spray. It will dry quickly, and you want to make sure that it's still tacky when you decide to add your substrate, and that way most of it will stick. I chose to use this mix by the brand Zilla. It's also something that I'll use for the base layer, but the foam is still tacky, and so then I added the substrate and did a thin layer of that throughout. So you'll see me adding it and then kind of pressing down on it, adding more spray foam, adding the substrate, pressing down on it, and doing that until I finish to the end. I use nursery pots wrapped in bags so that I could have kind of shelves that I can add some of my plants into, and having them wrapped in bags was so helpful. It was so much easier for me to remove the nursery pots while the spray foam was still tacky. So I did that, and then you may have to go back in with the spray foam and fill in some of the space that was pulled from the nursery pot.
Okay, this is gonna be a mess. Stand back. And a 1 and a 2. Oh, that wasn't bad. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. I decided to put the soil straight on versus putting it on the silicone. This stuck pretty good. One thing that I forgot that I have and that I was going to use is dried moss, and so I should have glued it, or I should have put it down when the foam was still sticky. I forgot. It was one of the things that I was thinking of last night. I'm like, shoot, it's okay. It's fine. I'll use it now to cover some of these spots that are more visible. And I love how this piece looks. It's my little seahorse. When I saw this piece, I immediately was like, oh, yep, that is perfect. That's a good statement piece there.
Removing the substrate that fell, I'll be clearing this out because I'm adding leca here in a minute. But for now, I will be using one of the shelves that came with this cabinet just to hold everything back. So I'm just placing it inside, and I will be sealing it with silicone just to help seal the edges so that nothing falls out.
Very, very strong magnets. Shoot. Let's give it just a test to see what this looks like. That's cool. I love it. I just went in and did a double seal of this. The most important part of each step has been to let it fully dry. So I will let this fully dry for 24 hours. And I was going to start including the moss, but I think I'm going to wait on that because the next step I want to add the leca lining, so like a mesh lining, and then I can work on the background. And so anything that falls down naturally can just fall in there and I don't have to worry about picking it up or anything. So I am very happy with how it's looking so far.
So using leca as my drainage layer, I have already rinsed this prior to, but I needed a lot of leca, so I used that. And purchased this window screen from my local hardware store and cut it to size.
I'll be adding some of this dried moss and some sphagnum moss later on too.
Using that clear silicone that I used earlier, I glued that dried moss to the expanding foam, and I also used it to glue the sphagnum moss to the base as well.
Just measuring with my heart. But whatever I'm putting in here, I do want to make sure, is safe, not only for my plants, but also for my isopods.
Now this is considered a bioactive terrarium, so I will be housing isopods in here and springtails. So I added a lot of leaf litter, some live moss, and cork bark so that they can hide under. All these items that I used are all safe for the isopods and springtails. As you will see, I have no idea how to add this mister in the terrarium, but we're gonna fake it till we make it. And I have this container filled with reverse osmosis water that I'll keep for my mister system. So my trusted and true YouTube videos research helped, and I was able to figure out how to make this happen.
Oh! But it works! Heck yes! Okay, turn off.
You just gotta get creative. So I found these that I had for my office desk, and they actually work really well to just stick on, and it held the hose of the sprinkler system up to the top. And holy smokes, we finally got it.
Hello? It's working. This is gonna be self-automated, so I need to get some timers for it, and an extension cord, isopods, and plants. So I added this initially because I liked it, but then as I sat with it, I realized it was just too much for the space, so I later take it out. And now the fun part, the plants. So I want to say thank you so much to Carnivoro. They sent me so many plants for my terrarium, so many Anthuriums, Nepenthes, Droseras, Pings, so many plant babies, and wrapped so well in their own bags, and shipping was perfect. So again, thank you so much, and I was so excited to add them to the terrarium. And because I will have isopods in here, I'll be adding my carnivorous plants more towards the top of the terrarium and everything else more towards the middle and the base. I used this craft wire and I wrapped the roots in sphagnum moss, and then I was able to use the wire to pin it to the spray foam. And for some of the shelves that I had created with the spray foam, I just added the substrate directly in it and then put my plants on top of it. These are dairy cow isopods, and they've lived in this little house for some months now, and so they're going into their forever home. Having isopods and springtails is so beneficial to a terrarium, and so they eat away at excess food or any decomposing leaves that you have. The springtails can help control any mold or fungal growth that occurs in the substrate. So all these little guys are great cleanup crew. I love her so much. I feel like she needs a name. I don't have a name for her yet. There's a couple things that I ended up doing and adding after I finished really filming. One of the things was I added that weather stripping to the middle of the door. So now when I close it, I have to make sure that I close them together so that it closes well. But that has maintained my humidity. I have my meter here, and so it stays at 90 to about 95% humidity. And you want to sniff? You can sniff. It's okay, you can sniff. And the temps range from 70 to 80. That's set on my phone so I could kind of see where it stands. The misters have been fine. I have the misters, they go off every 10 hours for 20 seconds. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to increase that, but I think I may actually give a fogger a try to see if it keeps everything damp, but I'm also scared to see if it's going to be too damp. So I will more than likely be updating on the progress of everything. Grow light has worked very well, even considering with the mist. And so this mother grow light has been awesome. I love it. It has held up very nicely so far. I already see growth happening, especially like with the pings. We got flowers coming. I have new growth on some of the Anthuriums and my begonia down here. I'm thinking about adding an orchid here. I would love to have more color and some blooms. I have some mini orchids here, but I think a larger one here would be nice. I was just trying to see how everything settles in. So the beauty about this is you could just be creative. You can add anything that you want. The possibilities are endless. This is just what I decided to add to mine, and I'll be taking things out as they overgrow, and I'll be adding things over time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspires you to create your own setup as well, and you can also make this miniature if you wanted to with a different size cabinet, obviously. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and until next time. Bye.